In death, I shall be stronger. Unlock other skills by death. Kim Gongja looked back at the others. Sword St. Marcus Callenberry said, wouldn't dragons be the best choice to make? They are supposed to be the most supreme species. Look at the illustration. They do not look all that great. Can they even speak? Kim Gongja muttered, I did not know there were so many intelligent species. It seems I am the only one interested in the goblins. Sword Emperor replied, of course. Heresy Inquisitor raised his hand and said, Princess, I have a question. The princess that walks across mirages gave a thumbs up and said, I like students who ask questions. It gives me the opportunity to act smart for free. All right, heathen, I will let you make me look clever. Heresy Inquisitor asked, do we only choose one? The princess that walks across mirages answered, good question. That is also your choice. Heresy Inquisitor frowned in confusion. Huh? The princess that walks across mirages said, I will give the top 7 a gift. A system notification rang out. The princess that walks across mirages has donated funds for a startup. You have earned 700 species points. You currently possess a total of 700 species points. The princess that walks across mirages continued. Now, the brunette must make his decision. There will be 10 calamities from the 31st to the 40th floor. They are all terrifying. Your first goal is to make sure your civilization, or civilizations, survives those calamities. You have 2 choices. Either you choose only one species and invest all your points into it, or you each pick your own and divide the 700 points among yourselves. Of course, putting all your eggs in one basket will be beneficial at first. However, that also raises the risk. If that civilization falls, you will all fall. On the other hand, the risk will be divided if you each pick your own species. Even if one civilization were to fall, there would still be 6 more. Sword St. Marcus Callenberry nodded and said, that is right. Kim Gongja glanced at him and thought to himself, in the past, the Flame Emperor did not hesitate and chose to put all the points into one civilization. Then he controlled the elves however he wished, ignoring the opinions of the other rankers and guildmasters. The princess that walks across mirages said, evolution is an art form born of variety and coincidence. Sword St. Marcus Callenberry added, we need a variety of species to increase the likelihood of survival. I do not know how much 700 points is worth, but I believe having 7 separate species will be more valuable. The princess that walks across mirages asked, is that so? Sword St. Marcus Callenberry confirmed, we will choose to pick our own species. The princess that walks across mirages warned, really? The 7 species will fight. Someone might stab another in the back. Sword St. Marcus Callenberry looked back at Kim Gongja and said, it is just a competition. There is no improvement without rivalry. Kim Gongja smirked. A system notification appeared. The princess that walks across mirages welcomes your choice. The princess that walks across mirages said, very well, please pick your species. And remember, once a species has been chosen, no one else can pick it. Keep that in mind. Humustra handed her a drink, and the princess took a sip before adding, you may take 120 years to decide if you need. There is no time limit. Sword St. Marcus Callenberry spoke first, there is no need, I will pick the humans. A system notification chimed, choice made. Someone cried out, no, I was going to go for humans. The princess that walks across mirages said, that is not surprising. What about you, Death Sovereign? Kim Gongja smirked again. I will pick them. Paladin Viper and Sword St. Marcus Callenberry were shocked. Sword St. Marcus Callenberry exclaimed, goblins? A system notification unfolded, extinction rank, a high threat. Proverb, Kier, Gore. Other name, trolls, a species whose stats are all low, a nerfed species, lower intelligence than humans and demonic humans, less mana than vampires. Surprising. No matter which category you examine, there is always a species superior to the goblins. No matter how you look at them, goblins are not beautiful. All species consider them disgusting and ugly. Disgusting! Truly disgusting. Traits: victim of species prejudice, awareness of fellow goblins, greedy. Evolution unknown. There are a total of 2 evolutions. You need 10,000 species points for the next evolution. Anastasia asked in disbelief, Death Sovereign, goblins. Really? Kim Gongja answered firmly, yes, goblins. Anastasia pressed, are you insane by any chance? Kim Gongja replied with conviction, listen, the goblins are the greatest species in the world. Viper, Sword Saint Marcus Callenbury, Nisha, Anastasia, and Paladin all stared at Kim Gong-ja with disgust and disappointment. But Heresy Inquisitor looked at him with burning enthusiasm. Anastasia said, "You must have had too much work lately. I will cancel everything you have scheduled this month." Kim Gong-ja replied, "Please, look at their description. You know how it says, no matter which category you look at, there is a species that is better than the goblins?" Anastasia tilted her head. "Yeah?" Kim Gong-ja said. "That just means they have room for improvement in every category." "I guess you could look at it that way," she muttered. "Do you not feel bad for them?" Kim Gong-ja pressed. "Look at them. Everyone thinks they are disgusting. Even the description calls them disgusting. I feel like they are my family. Children who were abandoned by others, ignored, mocked. It is like seeing the people in our tower. Yes, the goblins are actually us. Perhaps the truly disgusting ones are those of us who look down on them. Everyone has a goblin in their heart. The goblins shall rise. They will rise." The princess that walks across mirages trembled with amusement, holding back laughter. "All right, so you are picking the goblins." The Sword Emperor frowned, clearly not amused, and glanced at the princess. Kim Gong-ja said with certainty, "Without a doubt." The princess that walks across mirages wiped away a tear of laughter. "Ha ha, so this is why people like you so much. All right, let us continue. The rest of you, make your choices as well." Selections made. 7th, Paladin, Cetaceans other name, Mermaids, and 6th, Viper, Demonic Humans, other name, Dokaibi. 5th, Count, Elves other name, Fairies. 4th, Cult Interrogator, Mountain Snails other name, Snails, and 3rd, Black Witch, Bloodsuckers other name, Vampires, and 2nd, Death Sovereign, Goblins other name, Trolls, and 1st, Sword Saint. Pure Humans, other name Humans. The princess that walks across mirages asked, "You are set on your decisions, right? Right? Then, each person gets 100 points. A system notification appeared. The princess that walks across mirages is dividing species points. You have earned 100 species points. You currently possess a total of 100 species points. The princess set down her drink, having consumed only the whipped cream, and frowned at the frap beneath. Then, with a wave of her hand, the scenery changed as they began their journey. "Now, let us begin with the 31st floor," she said. "This place is the world your species live in. Look below you. A primeval forest," she pointed. "Look, fairies. You can go down further or zoom in if you want to take a closer look." Heresy Inquisitor tapped the map eagerly. Anastasia followed suit and asked, "Like this?" Heresy Inquisitor exclaimed, "The mountain snails live in the swamps." Anastasia smiled faintly. "That is cool. The vampires live in caves." Meanwhile, Kim Gong-ja raised his hand, descended, and muttered to himself, "Where are the goblins?" There. 2 goblin children were playing, tugging at a giant centipede as food. Kim Gong-ja's eyes softened. "I guess they cannot see me. Young goblins eating centipedes. So cute." The Sword Emperor, expression flat, muttered, "You are out. Out of your mind." Kim Gong-ja ignored her, looking up as the ground rumbled. Viper stiffened in confusion. "What was that noise?" Nisha checked the map and frowned. The mountain trembled violently. The princess that walks across mirages said with sudden gravity, "This seems dangerous. I am giving you your first quest now. This is the great forest where countless species originate. However, as you can see, the volcano will soon erupt, destroying everything." A system notification appeared. "The 31st floor's quest has arrived. Golden Age's End difficulty, E-Goal. The end of a golden age for all species is here. The volcano is about to erupt. There is no time. Guide your species to a safe area. Your species will go extinct if you fail." Kim Gong-ja said in shock, "This is our first mission as their guardians." The princess that walks across mirages declared, "Save your believers." The volcano erupted, fire and ash tearing through the sky. The princess that walks across mirages added, "I am going to start without the raws for now. I will adjust things later. You are different. You are guardians. You made the choice to open the next stage, and you chose the species you are going to look after. So do your best." A merman panicked, flailing in terror. "Ksha!" Paladin muttered in frustration. "Even if you tell us to do our best, there is no way for us to intervene. We cannot talk to them, and they cannot see us." Another merman thrashed about in fear. Paladin clenched her fists. "How are we supposed to evacuate them?" Kim Gong-ja turned sharply to the princess. "Princess, you gave us species points before we entered. I assume you gave them to us for a reason. Tell us what we can do with those points. Heresy Inquisitor added quickly, can we buy items or skills with them? Anastasia chimed in, yes, we will use the points too. Tell us how we can use them. The princess that walks across mirages smiled faintly. This is why it is important to have smart people on the team. He is right, it is definitely my responsibility to tell you. Civilization store. Kim Gongja's eyes widened. This is the real deal now. Until now, I only referred to the Flame Emperor's interviews. He used to talk about how he cleared stages, and I memorized all those methods. But I do not know the exact details. He did mention the civilization store. But now it is up to me to decide what to purchase. How should I take the goblins to a safer place? Paladin raised her hand. I have a question. Is the oracle message a way to send a message directly to my species? She pointed at the glowing text. Oracle message. The princess that walks across mirages nodded. Yes. Paladin asked, how does that work? The princess snapped her fingers. A system notification appeared. The princess that walks across mirages is showing you an example. The princess said, you have seen this plenty of times, right? Nisha gasped. A constellation's message. The princess that walks across mirages nodded. I told you, this stage is a constellation simulator. The oracle message is a one-time use ability. Only one person can receive it. If you want to send another, you need to buy it again. Paladin said firmly. All right. Then I will buy one. The princess that walks across mirages warned, there are no refunds, no matter what. A system notification flashed. 20 species points have been spent. Paladin pointed toward the map. Since the lava is coming from the east, they must not go south. That merman seems to be their leader. She poured her will into the oracle. Paladin's message, do your best to swim west. The merman blinked, tilting his head. Chow? Chow? Paladin froze. Huh? Wait. Something is wrong. Why is that merman not listening to my message? The princess that walks across mirages hugged a pillow and grinned. Who knows? I suppose it is like how you are not immediately obedient when you get a message from a constellation. Paladin scowled. What? The princess only laughed. And I would not know. Anyway, there is not much time. At this rate, all the species might die. When that happens, your tower raid ends. Kim Gongja's eyes widened. No, the oracle is not the wrong choice. Paladin turned to him. Sim? Kim Gongja said, Tawny's creatures do not have a language. What? Paladin shouted. Kim Gongja continued. Basically, they are savages. How are they supposed to understand your message? How would they even know where west is? Anastasia muttered. Then, an oracle is useless. Kim Gongja clenched his fists. There must be a way. Where? The tower never gives out impossible stages. I need a way to evacuate the natives without using language. His eyes darted back to the glowing system screen. Kim Gongja suddenly froze, shocked by what he saw. Kim Gongja said, Princess! Could I look for prey using hunting detection? Like if I want a tiger, can I find one? The princess that walks across mirages said, Yeah, there are no tigers in this world, but I could find something similar. However, you cannot possess a native yet. You need an advanced item for that. Kim Gongja smiled and said to himself, Nice. Kim Gongja then said, Then I will buy one. Anastasia said, Death Sovereign, this is not the time to be hunting. A system notification said, Purchasing hunting detection. Kim Gongja said to himself, Okay. A system notification said, Hunting detection acquired. Kim Gongja said, Find one that has the most unique color, is fast and is pretty large. The princess that walks across mirages said, Interesting conditions, but all right. I do not like being strict like the others. A system notification said, You have used hunting detection. Kim Gongja said, It is not far from the goblins. I will also buy animal possession. A system notification said, You have used 40 species points. Heresy Inquisitor said, Aha, I see. Everyone possess an animal that is the most conspicuous looking. As Heresy Inquisitor also used her points, a system notification said, You have used 5 species points. Another system notification said, You have used 40 species points. Sword St. Marcus Callenberry said, What? Kim Gongja said, The natives worship unique-looking creatures. If they were to see a white lion or a black deer in a situation like this, I will possess that animal. They will take it as a real oracle from a god. Anastasia said, Everyone, buy the animal possession card. We will each possess an animal and guide our species to safety. Hurry. As Kim Gongja looked at his paws, he said to himself, Nice. I am inside a lion. It feels awkward to run on all fours though. Although using aura does not seem impossible, it will not be easy. Suddenly he stopped and he said to himself, it is the goblin's village. These guys smell disgusting. What a pitiful species. I will save you all. As Kim Gongja roared, the goblins were frightened. One of them banged his face on the ground, breaking his nose. Bang! Kim Gongja said to himself, they do not even realize I am their ally. Then this is the only option. As Kim Gongja opened his mouth, he said, Gru. A system notification said, Rank F High Goblin Society effects. The Goblin King was worried that his species' culture was too lowly. All they had in their language was Krk. The Goblin King did not feel like a dignified king. That was when he had the idea to say Gorg instead of Krk. Gorg. This is much more fitting. Result, worsened conflict within the tribe. A skill from the Goblin King. A goblin, confused, said, Kkurg? Another said, Kir. The lion said, Gor, Gor, Gor. Kim Gongja said in the goblin language, Follow me, you bastards. The goblin, still confused, said, Care? Care. Kim Gongja said to himself, That is right. Good. They are all following me. As the volcano erupted further and a huge fireball fell, a system notification said, The goblin's last village has been destroyed. Another system notification said, You need to lead them to a new home. Kim Gongja said to himself, That was close. You guys should be thankful. A goblin said, Krr. His friend said, Kurr. As they looked at the lion, they began to cheer, Kir, Kurg, Kurg, Kekurg, Kekurg, Kekekur. Kim Gongja said to himself, What the hell are they saying? A system notification said, A new faith. The goblins have opened their eyes to religion. Your species is the first to start a religion. The goblins will now follow the faith of the white lion. As a goblin said, Kekurg. Thank you so much for watching. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to help me grow my channel. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. Let's keep the conversation going and get those analytics buzzing. Until next time, take care.